Hello everyone, and welcome to the Trending in My Life podcast, episode 36. Today, it's springing into spring. Yes, it's March, and we're heading into spring. Except, this morning, I came downstairs and I opened the curtains to have my cup of tea and look out at the garden, and what did I find? Fog. I wasn't expecting fog. So spring feels sort of unexpected. Anyway, I sipped on my cup of tea and I kept looking outside, and gradually the fog is clearing so that it's currently it's like a mist hanging in the air. I can see to the bottom of the garden, but the houses beyond are sort of a bit shrouded in mist, and the sky above them is just white, completely white. So obviously, the fog is still hanging up there. Because it's unexpected, it's changed my plans. I was going to go off filming first thing, and it's like, this is not very good filming weather. Not unless you sort of want foggy atmosphere in something, which I don't particularly. Anyway, so we're enjoying the unexpected. It's made me notice that I've now got snowdrops in my garden. Yay! They're one of the first flowers of spring, and when I look at them, it makes me think, yes, it's the start of the flowering season. Actually, right next to them I've got some wallflowers, and I can see they're starting to flower as well. Wallflowers are a plant that you can break off a branch, stick it in the ground, and it will grow again. Not every single time, but they're a very hardy plant, and they're in leaf all year round, so they don't die off to a stick or anything. The colours of them aren't particularly fantastic. The ones I'm looking at the moment are a sort of browny colour. Browny, crimsony red colour. I mean, it might be that I'm one of those people that likes blue as a colour. It looks good on me if I wear blue. And I don't say that from a sort of conceited point of view. I know when I've tried on blue clothes in a changing room in a store and looked in the mirror, it's almost like my face lights up. The colour definitely suits me. Anyway, back to the flowers. So in my garden I have a mix of, pretty flowers, but also practical flowers which will grow year round, and so that there isn't gaps in the garden. When we first moved into this rented house, the people before us had some vegetables, and these had sort of died off, and there were these big flower beds, or beds, let's say, of soil, and nothing in them. And it's taken 3 years now to get it to the point where over the winter time there's still something growing, so that it doesn't go sort of completely to nothing in the winter time. But look, back to the snowdrops. It's lovely to see the first signs of spring. It makes me think of Easter coming up, and I don't know, when you think of Easter, you think of yellow. It's like, I think a lot of the marketing for Easter is yellow themed, and it's not like, I suppose the insides of eggs are yellow, and an egg and new birth is sort of a symbol of Easter. So it makes me want to have some item of yellow in my wardrobe, which it doesn't have. Oh, maybe do have like a yellow scarf somewhere, but it's got orange in as well. Yeah, and it's very much a summer scarf anyway, not a spring scarf. So it makes you think, oh, I need to put some yellow in my wardrobe to wear and be spring-like. But yellow is a really difficult colour to wear. It's one of those colours that quite often it just doesn't doesn't suit your face if you wear a scarf close to your face, or in your clothing. It doesn't exactly wash out your colouring, but it doesn't flatter. So I'm gazing out at the garden. I'm thinking of springtime, and it feels like it is starting to be sunny more in the daytimes, and that makes you think, oh, I could go out and I could do things and I could go places, and it's that excitement of springing into spring, yay, taking a hold of these days and doing lots of different things and enjoying life. And yes, it's a very nice time of year when you can do things. I mean, crazy as it seems, everybody waits for the summer, but then summer sometimes gets way too hot and you can't go out and walk a lot in it because you just pass out. And and yeah, there's a certain restriction to a lot of heat in the summer. So we should enjoy the springtime as well. Enjoy every season of the year. We're not out of the days when it could possibly snow here. It's the 1st of March, so the very start of March, but we've had snow in April here. So yeah, in London, UK, in case you don't know where I'm talking from. So yeah, it's those cold days aren't gone yet, but there's definitely promise and optimism in springtime, where people think of what they're going to do next in the year. I'm gazing out here and looking at the grass, and it's a big rectangle that runs from. There's a concrete patio in front of the French windows that go out from the kitchen into the garden. Then there's a long rectangle of grass and a squarish flower bed at the bottom, just in front of the shed. And you go, okay, I have to do my first mow of the year. I have to get the mower out. I have to cut this grass. And it's one of those things that you're not supposed to cut grass when it's wet. And at this time of year, it's wet a lot of the time. It's very wet first thing in the morning from the overnight dampness. And even though you'll get sun out in the daytime, it's not got the heat of the summer to dry out the grass. But I'm looking out at it and thinking, oh, good grief, it's very tufty, as in it's got long bits and short bits and bits going in all different directions, like some to the left, some to the right, some this way, some that way, and I'm looking, oh dear, that's going to be fun. It's the theory of having a lawn, let's call it that, but it's not like lawns you get in parks and stuff. In theory, it's wonderful, and I would love to sort of sit out and picnic on it and stuff like that. But in practice, it's not quite the same. When you mow it, you can feel there are lots of bumps up and down. So it's not flat at all. So it's not one of those lawns of grass where somebody came and with a roller and rolled the earth flat and then laid squares of grass on top of it, or sod they call it, I think, and which is weird because here in England sod is a swear word. Although I must admit I haven't heard anybody use it in so long. Maybe it's faded into obscurity now. But anyway, back to the point. I can't imagine that this was ever done like that. I should think it was more like grass seed sprinkled on some earth, and it grew on bumpy bits of earth because it is very bumpy. I do have a garden bench, which I don't sit on that much, but I love to have it. For one thing, in the hot weather in the summer, I use it to put the hose pipe on so that I don't have to roll the hose pipe up again. But yeah, the theory of having a garden bench to sit outside and look at the garden is lovely. And the times that I have gone out on a weekend, early in the morning, it's actually been, I can't think that I've actually done it in the summer much, but I have gone out, put on my coat, gone out and sat on that bench and just looked at the garden. And it's a very relaxing thing to do. Yeah, so springing into spring, I'm looking forward to doing more outdoor filming. There's something about London as a city, as in many cities all over the world. It's quite easy to see the dark side of it and the dangers, and you end up being a hermit and not going anywhere. I do live in the suburbs of London, so that it's a 20-minute train ride to get into London. But I have lived in the centre. I have lived quite close to King's Cross Station and St Pancras, that area. And I know that when I lived there, I didn't think twice about wandering around a lot more than I do now. I think it's when you start to live on the outskirts in quieter places, then when you go into central, it does seem very busy. And I mean, it's always been a thing that there are tourists in the centre of London all year round. There isn't a season for tourists, it's all year. So from a point of filming, people walk in front of me all the time. And I'm not saying that that's not expected, because obviously it is. And when you're filming, that can show an atmosphere and stuff. But if you can't step back and get a picture of what you want, then there's no point in trying to film in an area. It will be interesting, actually. Okay, let's start at the beginning of this, how this came about. An email dropped into my email box on Friday, which said that the building that I work in is having free pancakes on offer for breakfast next Tuesday, because it's Pancake Day, which is what we call it in England. It is part of a sort of Easter calendar, and I know it's Shrove Tuesday, which means people would cook up all their leftovers, mostly into pancakes, I guess, and then they would pick something to give up for the period of Lent, which is 7 weeks till Easter. Anyway, I didn't realise we were that close to Easter. And 7 weeks to Easter, or 6 weeks? No, 6 weeks to Easter. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Lent is 6 weeks, not 7 weeks. Anyway, back to the plot. When I got this email and it said Pancake Day is Tuesday, and I thought, oh, good grief, it's Pancake Day on Tuesday. Now, to explain why I would say that, in previous years long ago, that just meant I went to the supermarket, bought some pancake batter mix and made pancakes for breakfast on Tuesday. But it doesn't mean that to me now. Since I've moved to London, there are big pancake races that happen in the city centre in London City. And to explain that, there's two parts of London. You'll think it's all the centre of London, but it's not. There's part of it that's called the City of London, and it has dragon statues to mark the boundaries of the City of London, so you know when you're crossing into it. And in the City of London, it has the sort of business area, the banking area. It's not the financial district, because that's slightly out of the city in Canary Wharf. But yeah, I imagine when London was first growing, it was where the banking and financial was before it moved out, because Canary Wharf, in terms of new and old, would be a new area. Not really new, but there's 1800s type buildings in the centre of London. Anyway, back to the plot. Gosh, I'm rambling a lot today. Since I've lived in London, there are these pancake races, and one of them that I particularly like to go to is at the Guildhall Yard. And this is a big concrete square with buildings around it. And this race has And the idea of a pancake race is you run in a straight line and you carry a frying pan with a pancake in it and you toss it. There's usually a minimum number of times, maybe 3 times on your way to the end, and the first one there wins. But they do it in heats, so they have some people running, and the winner of that waits at the side, and then another lot running, and then the winner of that, and eventually they narrow it down to get one winner, which often the prize is a golden frying pan, which isn't made of gold really, but it's gold colour. Anyway, I haven't been for several years, and each year I say to myself when it's Pancake Day, oh, I must go and do that next year, and then I don't. So on Friday, when I found out that it was going to be Pancake Day Tuesday, which will be the day after this podcast comes out, I will go. I've taken the day off work so that I can go this year. And then I'll be able to film it, and you'll see some of that in next week's... No, in the video that follows this podcast, which will be on the Friday. This will come out on the Monday. So you'll be able to see that then. And the reason that one is so special is because there are different professions represented, but they're like carpenters and bakers and skilled craftsmen that people join, and they're sort of master butchers, master bakers. It means they're very highly skilled in what they do, and they've formed this... It's not exactly a club, but I'm not explaining this very well. Anyway, the point is they run up and down wearing flappy robes, like they were, I don't know, like they were deans of a university or something, and they wear that kind of robes. They're usually blue or purple, and they also wear very tall chef's hats as well on their heads. So it's quite a spectacle. It's not the normal kind of pancake race. And what I've noticed is their families also turn up, and they're cheering them on and stuff, and it's a lovely atmosphere, and it's quite a spectacle to watch. It is quite difficult to film because obviously there's a lot of people there, and you have to squeeze in a gap to try and film something. But I've got my fingers crossed, and I'm hoping I will be able to do that next Tuesday. So really looking forward to that, and that will start my spring off really well. I mean, nothing says happy like a day off work and watching people run up and down tossing pancakes. The other thing is they're not young men. These are not young men. These are all sort of white-haired, quite elderly type men. Not elderly doddery. I don't know. Is there an age when you're not when you've got white hair but aren't elderly doddery? Well, I think so. I don't know. Is it your 50s or is it your early 60s? I don't know. Anyway, it's something I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, not strolling into the season, but springing into spring. So I hope you'll join me for that. And I hope you've got an optimistic outlook to spring. So please like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, and come back next time. Bye for now.